So you guys able to hear me, right? Okay. So JavaScript is again a programming language. Okay. Instead of programming, I can say it as scripting. So why it is important? So this programming language or scripting language is helpful to execute on the browser. Okay. It executes only on server side. Okay. It executes only on client side, that too on client's browser. So that's why this is very very important. So all the html in our html page, so whatever elements are there, we can handle by using javascript. Okay, you can directly create some elements. So it mainly works with the DOM, okay, dynamic object model. So all the HTML in the browser, it renders like a tree. So the tree will be parsed by your browser. What does this JavaScript do is, this JavaScript helps us to parse this entire HTML by using the methods involved in it. Okay, so this JavaScript helps you to implement some animations, some dynamic actions on the HTML pages, and even the input elements, whatever are there. For those input elements, you can implement the validations. Okay, like just like on a login page, if you don't enter any username or password and you try to click on a submit button or login button, it shows some error message like please provide username or password. Okay, so that kind of validations you can implement by using JavaScript. Even you can implement by using your C sharp at the server end, but the problem is, so instead of validating all those things on the server side, so if you validate each request on the server side itself, the data validation, it will be a great burden for your server. Instead of that, if you can validate the input data on the client's browser itself, means the processing will happen at the client's browser. So validation or processing, some kind of processing, if that happens at the client browser side, that will be very easy for the server. It need not to check again and again for that data validation, so that it will improve the performance of the application. That's where JavaScript is very very important. As we see in ASP.NET, all the validation controls. So all those validation controls, they are converted to JavaScript. When they render to browser, they convert to the JavaScript, because that everything happens at the client side, so that the performance of the application, the burden on the server will be reduced, so that so that the performance of the application will be increased. So all the actions, all the events, whatever click events, all the text changed events, whenever you are entering the text on a particular control, okay, particular element, input elements, and even all the click events, that all the page load events. So same thing like your C sharp, you can handle from JavaScript also. Okay, that's the advantage of JavaScript. The programming and the syntax, everything is same like your C sharp only. Okay, but it little varies. So that's what I am telling. So whenever you are moving to the new technology or new programming language, you just compare with your current working thing. So if you are working on C sharp, you just remember how I would have. So some feature, if you want to implement in a new technology, you just compare with your current working technology and the technology where you are expert. So how this concept I can implement in C Sharp. So what methodologies, what features I can use from my C Sharp programming language. So try to search for the same features in the new programming language so that you will get that feature but with the minimum syntax difference. Okay. And if you learn that syntax difference, you can easily implement that feature in the new technology. Okay, JavaScript also something like that. So there is much similarity between your C Sharp and JavaScript. Okay, and you can learn this very easily. Okay, so JavaScript programming, we have statements, expressions, keywords, variables, assignment operators, comments, and it is case sensitive. Okay, case sensitive means if you have given a variable name in all capital letters, you cannot use it in small letters. Okay, you cannot call and utilize it in small letters. You have to use the same case throughout your application. Okay, that is these are the basic things of JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript variables. So here there is nothing like integer, something like that, integer, decimal and other things. So it is directly JavaScript variables. We use var for every variable. Okay, and the variable name equal to the respective value you can give. And there are few variable types, very few variable types. One is string, number, boolean, array and object. Okay, the definition of them you can see it here. Okay, so all the examples you can see, like where everything we will declare as where my variable equal to in double quotes or single quotes, both the things are same. Both the things inside the single quotes, whatever you keep, that is treated as a string. Inside double quotes, whatever you keep, that also treated as a string. Okay, and then where my variable, okay, true or false, whatever you have to give, like the variable name you have to declare with where. Okay, and then the arrays or objects you can declare just like your C sharp only. But here the most of the things you will handle all the elements. So if you see the last line of this variable object is my variable equal to document dot query select of h. Okay, so this h1 means this h1 element, it is trying to get all the h1 elements on our page. Okay, so and then so these are the things. JavaScript variables, variables has algebra, numbers and strings, var keyword, many variables in one statement, multi-line variables, value return the value or undefined. So here whatever, so in C sharp it will be null if you don't define anything, but a variable without a value returns the value undefined. So in C sharp, if you don't assign any value to any variable, okay, any object, the value of that object will be null. But whereas in JavaScript it is undefined. Okay, redeclaring a variable will not destroy the value. Adding JavaScript numbers, strings and string numbers, strings and numbers. Okay, we'll see example, one example. Okay, JavaScript statements, you can see document.write is just like your console.write line. Okay, just 2 minutes guys. So this JavaScript statements to write to output window, that is means here output window is browser. So to write to browser we can use document.write. Okay, just like your console.write, here everything will be managed by document. Okay, that HTML will treat that entire HTML will be rendered to a document, that we call it as a document, and that document we will handle, and there we will write and we will get the elements of the document. Everything we use the document object. From there we will write the operations. Okay, and then the variables, just like in your C sharp, where x is equal to, where y equal to, like that you can give and x plus y. Okay, so document dot get element by id demo. Okay, means on your HTML pages whatever elements are there, you can give an id attribute for them, and using that id you can get that element using this document dot get element by id, so that it will return you that object or that element. Dot inner html means it will set. So as I told, as we were discussing, all the elements, HTML elements, we can nest one inside one. So inside this, if it may be a span or a paragraph element or even a div tag, okay, inside that you can insert some HTML again. So that HTML, the result of some operation, you can keep there. Okay, so we'll see this simple example. HTML head document processing. So this opening tag and closing tag, very important in HTML. So here I will have a div tag. I can give an ID for this. This ID will be div demo, and then I closed it. So inside header tag, I will keep my script tag with the attribute text. So there are different types of client side scripts. Okay, all those are not required. We can use text or JavaScript. Okay, there are even text or EC script, something like that. All those are similar. Action scripts are there, but they are something specific to some companies. But most of the people, they use only JavaScript. So action script is very specific to Adobe, Adobe Photoshop. Okay, and then EC script is there. That is something different, but JavaScript is very popular among them. Okay, so we have a document dot. Okay, we can have a function name. You can give onload. This name, whatever you want, you can give. It is not specific to onload. I just give onload. Okay, here where x is equal to 5, and then document dot get. Okay, so this one I have to call on body load. Okay, so load is the function which will load. Load is the function whenever the body tag loaded to the browser, it will execute right after the body tag loaded to the browser. Okay, we'll run this and we'll see. Okay, debugging also you can do. Just if you press on your browser F12, that F12 will open this extra window on our browser. Here on the sources you can see the code, and you can put, you just click on the line number so that it will keep a debugging point here, and whenever you run you can check whether it is getting executed or not. Or even just like in your C sharp, you can check here what is happening. Oh, this load is correct. Load is correct. Okay, let me put a button and we will see. Stay calm. This function is not calling. Okay, if something is not working, what we can do is JavaScript fiddler. Okay, this is some online, not fiddler. So some JS fiddle is there. From here also you can test. So you can write your HTML here and you can see the results the other side. Okay, you just write your button BTM, click equal to process, and then you give the button name, click me, and here the JavaScript function you can directly write function process. Alert is just like your message box in C Sharp. Okay, and then once you have write your code, you just run it here. Here also it is not coming. It has to work something. Okay, anyway, let's continue with class. So from tomorrow anyway we'll work with JavaScript only. Then I will explain you in more detail. Some issue might be there with the browser. So this is JavaScript programming statements. Okay, after that we have some keywords like break, continue, debugger. Debugger will break the code on your browser. Okay, do while loop is there, for loop is there. Function is just like the functions what I just given. The same functions will be there. Like functions you can declare and you can return values from that, and even you can return functions that may return value or may not return a value, but they are processing blocks. So they process some set of statements. Okay, if else is there just like our C sharp, return is there, and switch also there, try catch is there, and where is a variable declaration. Okay, these are the keywords. And we have arrays in JavaScript. So all the arrays we can declare just var equal to some square brackets. If you give, it treats that as a array element, array variable. And you have the operations for arrays like joining two arrays, you can use concatenate, and even in two or three arrays you can use concatenate. Join all elements of an array into a string, just that array dot join, and you that will be automatically comma separated values. So if you have an array with 10 numbers, and if you use dot join, it will return you 1 comma 2 comma 3 like that. Okay, remove the last element of an array. So by default all the arrays are of stack type. Okay, so you can use push and pop operations on these stacks. You have reverse function. So and you have, if you use the shift function, the very first element of that array will be removed. And slice means it selects the elements from an array. So this we will see in detail in jQuery. Okay, sort an array alphabetically and ascending, you can use sort function. Sort numbers, you can use sort function. So if you want descending, you can use the sort function, and you will specify DESC inside it, so that it will order your elements in the descending order. So adding an element to a position in an array, you can use splice function. Convert an array to a string, you just use dot to string. And new elements of elements to the beginning of an array, you can use unshift function. Okay, most of these we may not use very uh, very common. Okay, according to our use only we will use. Then JavaScript conditional statements, just like our C sharp, we have if statement, else statement, if else statement, switch statement, and a random link. Random link means just like your go to. Okay, JavaScript looping statements, for loop, while loop, do while loop, breaking a loop, break and continue a loop, use a for in statement to loop through the elements of an object. Just like your for each loop, you can use for loop just to loop through a collection of objects. Okay. And error handling, you can use try catch statements, and try catch with a confirmation box. Also you can use the on error event. Okay, in your JavaScript entire page, anywhere if you are getting some error, you can use some on error event directly. Okay, so JavaScript document object displays all name or value pairs of cookies in the document. So you can use document object. So document object, as I told you, it represents your entire HTML code. So it renders to your web page, and that entire web page is treated as a document. This documents implements a DOM. DOM means dynamic object model. So this entire dynamic object model will be parsed like a tree on your browser. Okay, so this entire DOM you can parse, and this document by you, once it is parsed, it will give you a document object in return. So using this document object, you can get name value pairs of a cookies in the document, and domain name of the server that loaded to the document. So where once you may be doing like google.com, so this DOM will return which server it is executing. So the domain name it will give, date and time of the document last modified, URL of the document that loaded the current document, title of the document, full URL of the document, replace the content of the document. So by using document, you can manipulate the data on the document, means all the elements, even new data if you want to add. So everything you can do. So display the elements with a specific name. Okay, open a new window and add some content. Display the number of elements with the specific tag name. So how many paragraph tags you may have in your page? If you want to list all those paragraph tags, you can list by using this document.getElement by name. Okay, something like that. So few methods are there. By using that, you can get the tag names or element names, even the data on the page. Okay, so even you can do CSS manipulation. So I have, as earlier I told you, so the class names we can give to the elements. So these elements, the class names you can dynamically change if you want, and even the style you can edit for any element. Okay, we have button objects. So button objects also we can handle by using this JavaScript. So disable a button, find the name of a button, find the type of a button. So button types, three types are there. So reset, normal button, and submit. Submit, what it will do is, whenever you have a form tag, that form tag button, inside a form tag, as I told you, if it is a submit, it will submit entire data to the form action by using the method. So action means a new URL or a new page where the data has to be submitted. Okay, and then find the value of the button. Value of the button means the button name. Okay, find the text displayed on the button. Find the ID of the form a button belongs to. So each form will have their own button. So how those what is the form name of that button? So these things you can get by using JavaScript. So all these different types of objects are there. All these you can handle by using your JavaScript document object. Even form object, submit a form, reset a form, find the value of each element in a form, find the number of elements in a form, option and select objects, disable and enable drop down list, turn the drop down list into a multi-line list. Okay, select multiple options in a drop-down list, display the selected option in a drop-down list, display the index of the selected option in a drop-down list. So just like what you were doing in ASP.NET, okay, in ASP.NET what you were doing, the same things you can do from your JavaScript. Instead of C Sharp, you can do by using JavaScript. So that if you carry more processing stuff or manipulating stuff to JavaScript, it will increase your application performance. So the processing entirely happens on the client machine. So where the website is opened, there the JavaScript will be executed so that it will reduce the burden on the server to process entire data. Okay, and the processing happens at the client side, and the processing is distributed among the clients so that the server burden will be very less and your applications perform the best. So that's why JavaScript is very useful to implement client-side operations like the validations of the form, the validations of the data, even what is required that much only you will send to the server. Okay, so all the elements even in ASP.NET also all the server controls they render to some form of HTML on the client browser. Even the selected objects, the selected data, whatever is there, all these things will be processed from JavaScript itself and they will be sent to the server by using ASP.NET methodologies. So instead of all those methodologies, you can implement your own methodology, your own processing so that the burden of ASP.NET will be reduced if you write more JavaScript code on your web pages. Okay, that's where MVC got very popular now. So ASP instead of ASP.NET, the converting of the validation controls or server controls and rendering them to normal HTML. Okay, and then sending that data and again packing up into some ASP.NET form the data and sending to the server. All these headaches are removed in ASP.NET MVC. That's why ASP.NET MVC is getting very popular. Okay, even you can handle image objects, the drop down list and table object and input objects. Input objects means your text box, text area, okay, checkbox, radio button, something like that. So input events we have. So for all the elements we have the events. These are JavaScript events. So input element on blur means whenever user leaves means you are just typing something on username and you came out of that control. So before coming out of that element this on blur event will be executed. On change is this is whenever you are entering some text on a text box. Okay, so it fires an event on change even from a drop down. Just consider some country list you are selecting some country. So once you select the country, on change event will be fired. On focus means whenever you move your control to a particular control. Okay, whenever you move your control or your the data you are entering on a particular control, the very first time when you click on that control, it executes the event on focus. On select, so whenever the text is changed, and on submit is when the form is submitted. On reset when the form is getting reset. So reset means your entire controls on the page or elements on the page will come back to the normal state. Okay, all the values on that elements will be resetted. On key down means the key down event will be. So key down means whenever you press a particular key on keyboard, so that will just be pressed inside, right? So that the very first time when the key getting down, the key down event will be fired. And key press means when you are pressing this key, that key press event will be fired. So both key down and key press, there is not much difference. Okay, both executes on the same action. On key up means once you pressed on a particular letter or key on your keyboard and you released it, right after that the on key up will be released. So on key down, on key up, when the user releases a key. So key down versus key up, both are different, means one is when you press down, one when you release it. Okay, and then we have mouse events on JavaScript. On mouse over, on mouse out, on mouse down, on mouse up. So just like if you have that mouse, so when you click on that, when you are hovering that cursor on a particular element in HTML documents, and when the cursor moving out of that particular element, okay, on mouse down. So when you click, so on a particular element, if you click the mouse, means the very first time it is down, that event. Okay, on mouse move, on mouse out. Mouse move means just you are moving your cursor on that particular element. Okay, on mouse over or on mouse out, when moving the mouse over or out of an image. Okay, these are some events, click events. On click, on db click. So on click means on click event will be executed when you click a particular element. On db click means when you click on a particular element two times, the mouse click, double click, you click two times immediately, then this double click event will be executed. Other event is key code of the key pressed, and coordinates of the cursor, and coordinates of the cursor relative to the screen. Was the shift key pressed, which event of which event type occurred. So these are different things we can handle once on a particular event. You can check these codes. Okay, we have pop-up boxes, display an alert box, display a confirm box, display a prompt box. Okay, so these pop-up boxes are there. Other events, simple timing, set and stop, a timer with set interval and clear interval. So these are different types of events we have in JavaScript. We'll see few of them now. We try to execute HTML, execute. Okay, let me do on click. It is click event only, but let me check. That is not on. Oh no, it was. So this is on click. Oh, sorry. So you can see this on click event is executing, and this is, so you can see the values of the elements. Okay, so this is how the function will be called and you can execute. So body on click, I am using execute. I am calling that function JavaScript function. By default, it will be binded to this function. Inside this document.getElementById dev demo. This is my element. I am calling that. Okay. For this div demo, the inner HTML I am setting to this Z. Even if you want to change the text, what you can do is the result of x plus y equal to some b tag, you put it, no problem. Just like your C# string concatenation, you can use plus Okay, B tag. We can see this one got bold. So this is how we can use JavaScript, and even there are few more events. This is on click, and then what else? So you can close a tag in this fashion. Okay, so a forward slash with greater than symbol that will end the tag there itself, or you can use slash input, something like this. Okay, if you do like this, you need to remove the forward slash in the starting element. This id is very very important, and we have name attribute. Name also very very important. So id and name both can be seen. Okay, just like your control id you are giving in your ASP.NET, same thing you can give here. Input text id, that is mainly used to process inside your JavaScript. Name is very very useful when you are posting data to a new form, and if you want to process from server side, the server side will be taken from only name. Okay, server side means from C sharp. If you want to handle this page, okay, the C sharp will give you, C sharp can find the submitted values through the name. So all the data will be posted by using name value pair. So this input control, input elements name, and then the value whatever you put inside that, those two will be sent as a name value pair to the server. So that name is very very important if you want to process from server side. ID is compulsory, and you need to mention ID for all your input elements so that it can be processed from your JavaScript side. Okay, so and then here on text changed equal to, so this on click I will remove. So just put on. On changed alert this dot value. Okay, this dot value means this element whatever value you are entering, that value will be displayed. Okay, so thrown some other. On key press we'll see. So it gives something. Instead of that, I will take a span tag. ID I will give SPN text. Okay, so here what I will do is show text. I'll write a new function here, show text. dot get element by id stm text dot. We have two variants. One is inner text and another is inner html. Inner text means it will display the raw text, and inner html means it tries to parse that text whatever assigned to render as html. Okay. The same one, txt name dot value. So you can see whatever I am typing here, it is coming the very next here. Okay, this is how on key press event you can use. On change event is there. Okay, many events you can directly execute. So all the events you can uh, keep as attributes for this element. Okay, like this you can add as many events as you want for this particular element. Like that you can execute. Okay, so we have some alert box just we saw. Okay, the result on the page load, if you want you can see. So z, so that, so this page says something, right? So this one it takes. Okay, this is alert box and we have some prompt. Okay, so you can use window dot prompt enter x value, so that it will take the value and return. It will show some pop-up. So from that pop-up, the value whatever you have given, it will be. So enter x value. Okay, 10. Enter y value 12. So the value it gives you 10 12. So it is treating it as a string, so that you need a conversion here. Okay, if you convert that, we have int dot parse, same thing like our C sharp. Number, this one is int only. I think small of, let me change that. Still it says. Do this. Okay, this has to work. I think some problem. Okay, so like this you can convert your variable and you can assign to the new variables. You can get you can read the values from windows.prompt. Okay, and then we have another variant, confirmation. Okay, if confirm box is there, what it will do, are you sure want to load this page? Okay, this one I will take it here where result equal to confirmation box. So if you click yes, it will return true. If you click no, it will return false. Okay, if result, then I am telling to execute this, else alert the calculation did not load. So if you click cancel, it says the calculation did not load it. And if I refresh this one, okay, then it is asking for this x values and y values. Okay, so that is, so this one I didn't put any else. Okay, this is how we can use the confirmation boxes, and other events, some timings are there, they will execute on timely manner. Okay, so if you want to display a clock on your page, you can display that. Okay. Function display time. I'll take another span here, and we have this is span time, where dt equal to new date, and document dot get element by id, spn time dot text equal to, sorry, this is inner text, equal to dt dot hours plus dt dot minutes plus dt dot seconds. So this is always camel case JavaScript, so that the very first letter in any statement should start with small. Okay, and on the page load, what you can do is you can set some interval, you give your method name which you want to execute. Okay, and then you give 1000 milliseconds, means that is 1 second, every second it will execute. Undefined. So this is getting called new date is correct only. Okay, just seconds. This is correct only. Okay, get hours. I think I should use new date. Okay, get hours. Get minutes. Get seconds. So you can see it displays my system time. Okay, this is set interval. Set interval versus okay, set interval. It will set and execute once. It has to execute every time. Okay, some set interval versus set timeout. So, but it has to execute on every second. A set interval only correct. It has to display the time just like your digital clock. Don't know some issue. Okay, this is what actually JavaScript basically. Okay, on top of it, instead of writing this document.element document on the load events, everything to your HTML strings, the elements, people that a few libraries came up. Okay, one among them is jQuery, that is very popular. By using this, you can get the elements of your page and the syntax and the writing capabilities got improved much more. Okay, from tomorrow we will start with MVC. With MVC, we will see the jQuery combinedly, and we will see how to work with jQuery and MVC. Okay, so from tomorrow we'll start with MVC. Any doubts on today's class? Or you guys are good? Okay, so basically confused. So what confused, Indra? Can you tell me? So you didn't get what is JavaScript and what are the events? See, basically JavaScript mainly if you see any page, this page also or this page also, if you see view page source, entirely you can see this one came up with some HTML. Okay, this this HTML you can process, means you can manipulate this HTML using JavaScript. JavaScript is mainly used to perform client side operations. Okay, so client side operations means whatever you do that can be executed on this one. So when I click on view page source, it gives me some document like thing. Okay, this is the document. What's on my screen? It is a document. This document can be processed by your JavaScript. Okay, this entire HTML that renders like a DOM. DOM means dynamic object model. Here each element is an object. Okay, so this each element you can get reference to that by using document.get element by id or element by name or document.get elements. Elements means you can give a particular name of this element and it will return all the elements with the same name for the handle to your JavaScript. From there, if you want to perform some validation on the data that is there on that element, or if you want to change the CSS class or other things on that element, that you can do, or even if you want to remove that element or if you want to keep that element, okay, you want to add some more elements to your page, everything you can do by using JavaScript. So why this one? So because of all this, the burden on the server you can reduce. The more JavaScript you write, the more burden you can reduce on your server. But programmatically, there is no difference between your C# and JavaScript. Only thing there you can specify the data type with some specific data types. Okay, a variable data type you can specifically define there, but here you have to define by using var keyword. And then whatever value you assign, you can use that data type will be assigned to that one. So based on this only, in .NET 3, from the .NET 3.5 version, var keyword is introduced in .NET. Okay, so at the time of runtime, means at the time of value you assign to the variable, that time only that variable data type will be determined. Okay, so because from this JavaScript only they got introduced at what Microsoft introduced var keyword. Okay, and then the JavaScript is again you have some events just like your page. So when you double click on a control, okay, text box control, it generates text changed event. So how it fires means when it generates an event for you in ASP.NET, but it internally generates on change event for your, it adds on change event for your text box. Okay, that event can be called from JavaScript. A do post back event will be executed on your ASP.NET. Okay, your HTML page, the JavaScript event will execute do post back event from JavaScript. That event will be handled by your C# code, and your ASP.NET framework executes handles that event and it processes that respective method you have written in your C#. But internally directly it cannot handle the code, the event from your ASP.NET. So it has to execute some internal JavaScript event that will cause a post back to your server. That in the post back it checks from which element the event got fired and it binds to that specific method you defined in C#. Okay, ASP.NET made that much of easy. Because of that, there is a lot of dependency and processing. That's why ASP.NET applications are very slow when compared to other PHP or Java. But in terms of development, ASP.NET applications you can develop uh, in a very fast phase. Okay, but internally everything that converts to your JavaScript events and even that HTML that I was telling you from the beginning, all the ASP.NET whatever is there, your browser can understand only HTML, CSS and JavaScript, so that your entire ASP.NET code has to convert to these three formats only, because these three formats will be executed their respective. Based on that execution, your server ASP.NET Framework will route the events or actions to respective C# methods. So now from that ASP.NET Framework to now we are coming pure JavaScript. Okay, now you would know how this happens. So all these events, a button click event, it is generating if you give button name btn submit. So when you double click on ASP.NET page, it gives you override, public override that event name void, okay, btn submit underscore click object sender comma event RC. Like that it will generate some event inside your C# page. But how exactly that event is executing? When you click on that button, some event fires initially from JavaScript side. That event will submit your form to the same page with some arguments. What are those arguments? Which button got clicked, what are the values of that button, so that these values will be passed to your server, and in your page lifecycle some data binding event is there. Okay, during that data bind event or event write up, right after your page load, this event will be executed. During that event, it checks which element fired this event, and that respective event will be executed. Okay, what kind of event got executed, and what type of which control, what kind of event, and what is the respective method for C#. So these things got executed from your page life cycle. After that, the respective event on C# will be, or method on the C# will be executed. Okay, what kind of events that are getting executed on JavaScript? Those are the list. Now got it? Or still confused? Okay, so MEC what it does is there is no auto event wrap up, so it won't bind any event. There is no double click and event generation in MVC. You have to write everything, and from JavaScript side, not from JavaScript side, jQuery, that is a library developed on top of JavaScript. Instead of this document.write and everything, they made very easy the job, so that all the things executes from client side. You will just make all Ajax calls, so that it, whatever things that are not good in ASP.NET, all those are fixed in MVC, and now MVC is the best thing in .NET web applications. Okay, got it? So tomorrow we'll start with MVC from tomorrow. Not Ajax, it is Ajax. Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Okay, this I explained in the last class of ASP.NET, this Ajax. Ajax controls update panel and few things. Okay, this pure Ajax we are going to work on. So it will be very interesting. Okay guys. We'll meet tomorrow, same time. Thank you and good night.